Hello and welcome to the last online class for this week. So in today's class we will be taking revision for the whole unit 7, and we will be starting with the conditionals, which is the most important, the grammars, the things that you do not uh, or usually find some difficulties in them. So I will be starting with the conditionals. The usage of this grammar. We use conditionals in order to tell that if a specific thing happened, it will lead to another thing, which means that the existence of an action or a situation is actually a result for a previous one. So from here we will know that the conditionals means that we put a condition for something to happen. For example, if you study hard, you pass the exam. That means the condition to pass the exam is for you to study hard. Yes, so conditionals contains two clauses. The first is the conditional clause and the second is the result clause. Okay, the result clause can come first sometimes. So it's not a must for the if clause to come at the beginning of the sentence. Sometimes it comes at the middle, but when the if clause comes at the middle, we omit the comma. Okay, there is no comma if the if clause comes in the middle, and we put a comma if we put the if clause at the beginning of the sentence. Okay, so we have four types of conditionals. They are 0, type 1, type 2, and type 3, or we can call them 0 conditional, first conditional, second conditional, and the third conditional. Okay, so starting with the 0 conditional, we use it to talk about things that always happen. Something that always happen. We use 0 conditionals to define it or to talk about it. Okay, things that always come as a result of this specific previous action. For example, if you study hard, you pass the exam. It's normal that if you study hard, you pass the exam. This is what everybody knows. So it is something that always happens. For example, let's give you another example. Uh, if you heat the water at 100 degrees, it boils. Okay, so uh, the condition of boiling water is to put it uh, in a temperature of 100 degrees. Okay, so let's take another example. If you work hard, you achieve your goals. So normally people who work hard, they achieve their goals, right? So we can say that it's almost like a fact. It's something that always happen. So we use 0 conditionals to define it. We can use when instead of if in the 0 conditional, and it will give the same meaning. So here we say that we can put when instead of if in the 0 conditional. For example, we have said before, if you work hard, you achieve your goals. Exchange the if with the when. It will become when you work hard, you achieve your goals. So it's same as giving a fact. When you work hard, you achieve your goals. So when do you achieve your goals? When you work hard. Yes. So in the 0 conditional only, we can replace the if with the when. Okay. So the form of this 0 conditional is if subject plus verb 1 plus complement. Then we put a comma. The comma is necessary here. Then we put another clause consists of subject plus verb 1 plus complement. You can say another way to say it. We say if plus simple present, comma simple present. Okay? If plus simple present, comma simple present. So here we have fill in the blank with the accurate verb form. If you study well, you the exam. So we have the verb pass in the brackets, okay? And this is a 0 conditional because we are talking about something that always happens. So what type of verb would be in the gap? Yes, it's going to be a verb 1 because according to the form, it says if subject plus verb 1 plus comma plus complement, sorry, then comma, subject plus verb 1 plus complement. Okay, so the verb 1 of pass is pass. If you study will, you pass the exam. Okay, replace if with when. When you study will, you pass the exam, and the sentence will be accurate as well. So, next sentence says, if you sit all day, you lazy. So here we have become, and we are going to use the zero conditional as we have said before. So, what type of verb do we use for zero conditionals? It is type 1 or verb 1, sorry. Okay, so if you sit all day, you become lazy. The third sentence says, if he works out, he gets muscles. Why did we add an s to the verb get? Because the subject is he, and for he and she and it, we put uh, an s after the verb, right? If he works out, he gets muscles. So this is all for the zero conditional. Next we will be taking the first conditional. So now we will be continuing with the first conditional. Here we are going to talk about the first conditional. It says we use it to talk about things that are likely to happen. In the zero conditional, we used it to talk about something that always happens, right? But here we are talking about something that is likely to happen. Likely is less uh, precise than always. Like it's not always happening, but it's most likely to happen. Okay, most of the time, but not all of the time. In the present and or the future, a result that usually comes after a specific previous action. Okay, for example, here we have if you keep eating fast food, you will become fat. So, here it's most likely that some people, when they eat fast food all the time, they will become fat. Okay, he's still not fat, but if he continues doing the same action, he will become fat in the future. Okay, so we use unless with the first conditional to mean if not. Okay, here we have the word unless. Remember in the zero conditional we could use the verb when and replace it with the if. Okay, so if we can say in the zero conditional we have said if you study hard you pass the exam, so we replace the if with the when. It becomes when you study hard you pass the exam. Here in the first conditional we can replace unless instead of if, but the point here is unless means if not. Okay, so it comes in the negative form. So we can say unless you stop eating fast food, you will become fat. It means that if you do not stop eating fast food, you will become fat. Okay, so the form of the first conditional is if subject plus verb 1 plus complement. So you here see that uh, the first part of the form is the same as the first part in the zero conditional, but the difference here is that second part. So in the second part we say subject will plus verb 1 plus complement. So we can say that in the first conditional the first part of the form is simple present, while the second part of the form is simple future with will. Okay, so for example, if you study hard, you will pass the exam. Okay. Now, right now, I'm not talking about the fact that people who study hard pass the exam. Right now, I'm telling a specific person that if he studies hard, he will pass the exam. Maybe he doesn't study right now, and I'm telling him that if he studies hard, there is a big chance for him to pass the exam, okay, or a huge chance for him to pass the exam. So next we will take a question, fill in the blank with the accurate verb forms, okay? If you study 4 hours a day, you will get high marks. Uh, you need to understand that in these sentences we will be using the first conditional, not the zero, okay? Maybe the first sentence can work with the uh, zero conditional. We can say if you study 4 hours a day, you get high marks. Okay, maybe it becomes a fact, maybe, I don't know. It's not most likely 4 hours, but if we say like if you study 7 hours a day, you get high marks. Yes, it works. But right now we will be using the first conditional, so we say if you study 4 hours a day, you will get high marks. Okay? The second sentence says if you wear t-shirts in this weather, you will get sick. Okay, it's most likely to get sick. That doesn't mean for sure you will get sick. Some people wear t-shirts in winter and they do not get sick normally. Okay, but uh, most likely you will get sick. This is the point of using the first conditional. We are not 100% sure, but around 90% sure of something to happen. If you wear t-shirts in this weather, you will get sick. Okay? The third sentence says, if you run for an hour daily, you will have strong legs. If you run for an hour daily, you will have strong legs. Okay, so the first part, if you run for an hour daily, is simple present, and the second part, you will have strong legs, is simple future with will. Okay, so this is all for the first conditional, and next we will be taking the second conditional. So now we will be taking the second conditional. We use the second conditional to talk about something that is impossible in the present or the future or unlikely to happen. Okay, it's not like 100% impossible, but it is unlikely to happen, let's say. uh, and to give advice as well. When you want to give advice to someone, you use the second conditional, and when you are talking about something that is unlikely to happen, you use the second conditional. So, zero conditional is to talk about something that is always happen. The first conditional about things that are likely to happen. The second conditional is about things that are unlikely to happen. Okay, so for example, if the earth was flat, we would fall off the edge. Okay, if the earth was flat. So, is the earth actually flat? No. So we say if the earth was flat, we would fall off the edge. So we are not going to fall off the edge because the earth is not flat. So it is something that is unlikely to happen or impossible actually to happen. Okay. So if the earth was flat, which is untrue, okay, we would fall off the edge. So if you have noticed here, in the first sentence here, we have was flat. Okay, was. We used verb 2, not verb 1, as in the previous forms of the conditionals. The zero and the first conditional, we used simple present, while here in the first part we use simple past, and in the second part we use modal 2 instead of modal 1 plus verb 1. For example, in the first conditional, we said if you study hard, you will pass the exam. Okay, but here we say if you studied, because we have verb 2, studied hard, you would pass the exam. Okay, so maybe he is too late for studying, like it's the night before the exam and he only got about 3 hours. So if he studied hard in the past, he would pass the exam. Okay, so it is something that is unlikely to happen, and sometimes it is impossible to happen. Okay, so we have next the question, fill in the blank with the accurate verb form. If I had a dog, if I had a dog, it means that I actually do not have a dog. Okay, I would play with it. Would, because it's actually unlikely to happen because I do not have the dog. So the answer becomes would play. Okay, would play with it daily. Okay, if I the bell, everyone would shock. Okay, now here we have the second uh, part of the sentence. Everyone would shock. So since we have would here, we understand that we are going to use the second conditional. So for the second conditional, what type of verbs do we use at the first uh, part? We use verb 2. Yes. So ring, rang. Okay. We have the verb rang is verb 2 of ring. Okay. If I rang the bell, everyone would shock. Okay. So in the third sentence, it says, if I played football, played here, do you see? We have verb 2, played. Okay. If I played football when I was a kid, I what here? What shall we do? I would be, right? How did we know? Because the we had here the verb to of the verb play, so we understand that this is the second conditional because the second conditional has the verb to, and the second part of the second conditional shall be would plus verb 1. Do you understand this point? Okay, so the sentence will be, if I played football when I was a kid, I would be professional now. Okay, did he play football when he was a kid? No, he didn't play football when he was a kid. But he says that if he played football when he was a kid, he would be professional now. There's a slight, let's say, hope for him to be a professional football player. So we go next to the third conditional. We use the third conditional to talk about things that were impossible in the past but didn't happen. Okay, something that are impossible in the past. Okay, if we had practiced the hurricane, lives would have been saved. So actually, they didn't practice the hurricane. Okay, and life were lost. They didn't save lives. Okay, so if they had practiced the hurricane, they would have saved lives, or lives would have been saved. Okay, but here again we are saying that they did not practice the hurricane and lives were not saved. So it's something happened and you cannot change anything about it and there is no hope in it. Okay, so the form of this third conditional is if plus subject plus had plus verb 3 plus complement, comma, subject would have plus verb 3 plus complement. Okay, so let's go to the questions. It says, if we had taken a taxi, we would have, what type of verb comes after have and has and had? Always verb 3, arrived. Okay, and if we hadn't eaten the cake, we would have feel lighter. Feel, what is the verb 3 of feel? Felt. Felt. Okay, we would have felt lighter. Okay, if we, here we have the verb run. Okay, and we are in the first part of the sentence, not the second. You have to make sure about it. And the first part, I mean the part that have the F. Okay, sometimes it comes at the middle. That doesn't make it the second part. Okay, I mean by first the part that has the F. Okay, the F clause. It says, if we had run, And run here is actually verb 3, not verb 1. Okay? If we had run faster, we would have arrived on time. So, did they arrive on time? Did they arrive on time? No, they didn't. Okay? But did they run fast? Did they run faster? No, they didn't run faster than they actually did. So, it is impossible to fix the thing now. It's something that has happened and there is no hope in changing it. Okay, so that's all for the conditionals from zero conditional first and second and third. So again, let's do it fast here. The zero conditional are used to talk about things that are always happen. Okay, so let's give it a 100% degree of happening. Okay, 100%. Okay, the second the first conditional is about something that is likely to happen, right? So let's give it from 80 to 90%, for example. Okay, and the to happen here. Okay, and the zero conditional as well. 100% to happen, let's say. Okay, so let's go to the second conditional. Something that is unlikely to happen. Okay, it is unlikely to happen, but still there is hope. Okay, so it's above 50%, let's say. And the third conditional, it is impossible to happen. It's something uh, already done and you cannot change it, so it's zero to happen. Okay, 0% to happen. Okay, it didn't pass. It can't happen anymore because it's already done and you cannot change it. Okay, so that's all for the conditionals. Uh, Please put the forms uh, above each other and compare them. It will make it easier. For example, the zero conditional is simple present, simple present. All you need to do to change the zero conditional to the first conditional is to put will in the second part. And for the second conditional, we replace the modal 1, which is will, with the modal 2, would. Okay, okay, for the third conditional, sorry, here. Okay, and for the sorry, for the second conditional, and for the third conditional we use had plus verb 3 and would have plus verb 3. So please put all the forms above each other and compare them with each other and their uses, and everything will be okay for you. So hope you all understood this grammar and all doing great in this situation. So please take care and study well. Thank you.